pelvic floor restore today. So come on down and join us on the mat. So we're going to start with ourselves lying down on our backs, however that feels for you. I really like to set up well and seated before I head to the floor, so just finding my feet flat on the floor, knees pointing to the ceiling, being aware that my knees aren't rolling out to the side or dropping in. And then if you need to use your hands to bring you back down, that's absolutely fine, or seeing if you can hold behind the thighs and just find a little bit of articulation. The feet might move, that's fine, all the way back down onto the floor. So from here, we're going to find heels of the hands, and this time we're going to put heels of the hands onto the base of the rib cage. So just find the sides of the rib cage here, fingertips over that gap in between them. And I want you to find a beautiful big breath in. And as you breathe out, blowing out through the mouth as if you're trying to blow out your birthday candles on your birthday cake. Inhaling. Exhaling. And as you're breathing in and out, find that you can feel what your rib cage is doing. So on that inhale, is the rib cage dropping down and moving out? Is the diaphragm expanding? And the exhale, does the rib cage maybe move a little closer together? Do you feel a little more of a hollow out? And if there's one thing that you're going to do that's really going to help you repair your pelvic floor, it's this full diaphragmatic breath. We've been sort of societally conditioned to pull in when we breathe, but the more we can actually let the diaphragm expand, we have a reciprocal action with the pelvic floor, a piston action, which will just passively start to also condition the pelvic floor as well. So full breath in and full breath out. From here, we're going to take a little bit of movement from side to side. So I just want you to find your hands now nice and wide. So whenever we take the arms wide, we're a little more stable through the outside portion of the torso. We also want to work the inside portion of the torso, but I find this is quite a nice one here. So I want you to find an inhale and slide your right leg as far away from you as possible. Find a flex in your heel and bring to attention where your ribs and hips are. Have you let that leg go so far away that you've condensed through one side of the torso and lengthened through the other? Or are you able to keep your hips at the same height and ribs at the same height? From here, with that heel flexed, we're going to exhale and externally rotate the leg. Inhale and bring it back into parallel. And it might seem like a little bit of a awkward exercise, but when we're using our turnout muscles, so when we're finding that turnout into external rotation and internal rotation, a lot of that's actually coming from the pelvic floor as well. So we have a muscle called the obturator internus, and that is part of our ability to rotate. We're going for 2 more. Last one. Now weight that heel down as heavy as you can, and I want you to drag that heel back into the center. Take a breath in, breath out. Did you allow your diaphragm to move? And then we're going to inhale and take the other leg as far away from us as possible. And again, when you hit the full extension in that left leg, make sure that your ribs and your hips are the same distance apart. So we don't want one side to be condensed and one side to be lengthened. We want to be working nice and evenly through both sides of the torso. Inhale and exhale as you externally rotate the leg, keeping the heel on the floor and internally rotating the leg. Now, I have quite a lot of facility in my turnout, but I don't have a lot of facility in my internal rotation. So just work with whatever you have, whatever you've got, whatever movement you can. If you find you feel your butt kicking in, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but we really want to feel like it is the femur head and the acetabulum, so it's the top of that thigh bone in the hip socket turning. It's not our hips moving, it is the thigh bone independently almost of anything else. Last 2. Last one. And then weight that heel down as heavy as you can. Scoop, tuck, bring it back in. Really, really nice. From here, we're going to roll onto our side, and we're going to bring ourselves up. Now, depending on where it feels nice for you to sit, if it feels comfortable for you to sit on your heels, feel free to sit on your heels. I know sometimes this feels comfortable for me, and other times it makes my legs go numb. Or if it feels more comfortable, you can bring yourself to a cross-legged position. So either of these seated positions are fine. And I'm going to just take you through a full pelvic floor activation here. So there's a couple of different ways that we can think about activating our pelvic floor, but we kind of need to know a little bit of the anatomy as well. So if you think that your pubic bone is at the front and your tailbone is at the back, so everything in between that pubic bone and that tailbone that goes underneath essentially is your pelvic floor. We've got 3 organs as a female, so we've got our bladder, our uterus, and our bowel, and we've got lots of fascia and lots of things that also work to keep us supported. We have what we refer to as the urogenital triangle, which includes the openings for the bladder and the uterus, and then we have the anal rectal triangle, which is the opening to the rectum. So we want to make sure that when we're activating through our pelvic floor that we're not trying to isolate, and the most important thing is that we can also find a full release. So relax as much as you can. And I want you to feel that you are completely and utterly relaxed. There's no bracing and there's no holding on at the bottom of that activation. The first visualization I'm going to give you is that you have a blueberry. Placing the blueberry at the entrance to the vagina, imagine there's a big tube, and you're going to lift the blueberry up, and then you're going to place the blueberry back down where it came from. So find that full relaxation. And often you might find that you're sort of squeezing your butt, so relax your butt as well. Full breath in, relax. As you exhale, imagine you're lifting the blueberry up, and then lowering it all the way back down on the inhale. And the wonderful thing about this is that nobody has to know exactly what you're doing. So exhaling to lift and inhaling to lower. Now you might find that the front wall of the abdomen moves as you're lifting, and that's fine, but it shouldn't feel like the front wall of the abdominals are gripping. Naturally, there's a reciprocal engagement, but you want to feel like it's really concentrated underneath. Now, for some people, the blueberry is the thing that makes them switch on and they know exactly where they are, but for some of us, we need a little bit of a different visualization. So this time, we're going to talk about the lasso. So imagine that you have a lasso that goes from your pubic bone all the way back around the anus and back to the pubic bone, and almost like a drawstring, zipping up and forward, and then relaxing all the way back down. So again, stay relaxed, and the activation wants to come from your back passage forward and up toward your pubic bone, so it should feel like there's a lift almost forwards and up. So using your breath in. As you breathe out, imagine that lasso is just lifting you up and forward, and then releasing all the way back down again. So we're going to try that again. Inhale, relax. Exhale, find that engagement, lifting up and forwards. Inhale, relax. Exhale, lifting up and forwards. Inhaling and relaxing. So hopefully you're finding that you can get some form of engagement here, and it doesn't matter where you're working to. As you're moving through anything, you never want to be holding that on at 100%, but while we're in this repair phase, we can work to hold on to that engagement for a number of seconds. So we work for seconds with how many weeks postpartum you are. So in your first week postpartum, we should be able to hold at whatever your 100% is for a second, and then relax. So at 2 weeks, holding for 2 seconds, at 5 weeks, holding for 5 seconds, and by 10 weeks, hopefully holding for 10 seconds. So this time, that's what we're going to try. We're going to try and hold for about 5 seconds and then find a full relaxation. And we're going to do this 10 times, so do this with me. So full breath in, full breath out. Find that engagement, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Find your release. Full relax, let everything go. Again, inhale, relaxes. Exhale, find your engagement. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale and release. And really work on the release being the most important part of this. If we're keeping on a percentage of engagement, as we move, we're going to fatigue, and that's when we get sometimes more pressure, incontinence, etc. So finding a full engagement and a full relaxation is what we're after. Okay, full breath in. Full breath out. Find your lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, release. Let's go again. Exhale. Find that lift, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, release. And as I'm saying hold, I'm exhaling because I'm counting out, but I want you to make sure that you're also exhaling. So you don't want to hold it and hold your breath. You want to use that exhale to keep hold of the engagement. Again, full breath in, full breath out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. We're going to go for 5 more. Inhale. Exhale, find the engagement. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Let yourself release. Full breath in, relax. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, release. We just got 3 more. Inhale. Find that relaxation. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Last 2. Inhale, relax. Exhale, find that engagement. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, relax and release. Last 1. Full breath in, relax. Breath out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. And this is something that you can incorporate through your day where you don't need a big setup, you don't need to dedicate time aside. So every time you stick the kettle on, maybe try 1 or 2. See where that amount of seconds holds you to. If you're brushing your teeth, try it then. Don't ever try and hold your wee on the toilet. That's not something that's been proven that that's actually not a good thing for us to do. So just in a place where you're calm and you've got a couple of moments to breathe, engage and relax, engage and relax. So keeping that in mind, we're going to bring ourselves into a 4-point kneeling now. So find your hands under your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. And we're going to use a cat-cow as we work through this. So inhale, relax, let yourself find that full extension. Exhale, find a little engagement and see how much you can lengthen into that cat stretch. Inhale, relax. Exhale, finding that engagement. Inhale, relax. Exhale, find the engagement. And this isn't something that we want to think of once we're past the repair point. Once we're repaired, pelvic floor should activate naturally with our breath. So you don't want to overthink it, but just knowing where you're moving through. Come to a flat back. So find a nice lengthened spine. And this time you're going to use your breath against the floor. So inhale and actively let everything drop away from your spine. So you're keeping your spine long, but letting everything else hang towards the floor on the inhale. As you exhale, use your abdominals against gravity and lift up. Inhaling, relax. Exhaling to lift. Good. Inhaling, relax. Exhaling to lift. 2 more. Inhale, relax. Exhale to lift. Inhale, relax. Exhale and lift. Bring the toes together. Take the knees wide, slide your hips back and nestle your rib cage in between your thighs. Extend out the arms, find that press forward. You can take your head to one side if it feels more comfortable. And find that release, find that relax. This is a great position to practice relaxing your pelvic floor in and noticing how and when you get tension. When you're ready, bring yourself back to center and start to walk your hands all the way in. Once we're up, we're going to bring the knees together, and we're just going to take a little mini cobra. So send yourself forward, and we're going to extend our legs out back behind us. So you want your feet probably about as wide as your mat, and start with your hands out in front of you. Start to gently walk your hands back. If it feels nicer to bring yourself to your elbows like a little sphinx and practice relaxing here, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, if you do feel like you have a little more facility, feel free to keep pressing through the fingers. Try to keep the bottom relaxed, walking the hands back in until you find that little bit of extension. And that extension across the front line of the torso, because of the way that the fascia attaches to your pubic bone, should also mean that you just find a little more space, a little more relaxation. At the start of your postpartum journey, you might find that your range actually is quite small, and we have to work to get that range back to what you're used to your normal range safely. So don't be afraid to stop anywhere that you need to, finding that release and finding that relaxation. As and when you're ready, bring yourself down, place your hands underneath your shoulders, and see if we can lift the body line up and back. Finding that child's pose stretch one more time, just finding that flexion for the spine. And then when you're ready, scooping, tucking, rolling, and lifting. Wonderful work. Again, this is something that feel free to revisit as and when you need it, and know that you can hold for as many seconds as you need to, up to about 10 seconds. Past 10 seconds, we don't really worry anymore. So 10 seconds, 10 times is what the goal is. Good luck.